And I believe we're live. Hello, ladies. How are you today?
Hello, Stephanie. Nice to
Hello.
see you.
I'm so excited to talk to you. We were just getting a preamble done before this live, and I got even more excited. Julie and Denise, welcome to the AVIC Live. How are you both? What's happening?
We're great. I'm in sunny New South Wales today. I can't believe how much it's warmed up. It was freezing last week, so we're
I'm
really
jealous,
loving the
why
weather
don't
here
you?
today. Julie's in Queensland. How are you up there, Julie?
Yes. Look, it's been cold, would you believe, in Queensland as well, but it is warming back up, thank goodness. But I really shouldn't complain. Like, listen to mine and Denise's accent. We've come from the cold and we're whinging about the cold here in Australia.
Says the Irish and
So,
Scottish person. Yeah.
And I'm listening to you both whinge, and I'm in Melbourne, so I'm like, poo poo.
yeah,
I
we've
beat
really
you
got nothing
both.
to complain about.
Oh my goodness. Well, today we're actually, as I was saying before, we had the preamble and I got super excited because it is a topic that I'm really passionate about, purely because I have owned medical aesthetic clinics for about since 2026. So we're going on 20 years. I just sold at the end of last year. And I know firsthand how hard it is to run. We had 14 going, and some of them
Wow.
were huge. Like I had 16 treatment rooms in one of them, and you know, 20 staff in even in just one clinic, and it was such an onerous thing sometimes to
Yeah.
do. And I found that whoever I chose to partner with, and I mean not partner as in my business partner, but my actual partner in stockists or my partner
Yeah.
in products and things like that, made the difference to my success and actually taught me a lot about, believe it or not, actually taught me how to run a business, almost, because I had access to the most incredible business development managers that were part of product houses or part of, manufacturers and suppliers and things like that, that really just opened my eyes and cared about my business so much, and it
Yeah.
boomed. So that's what we're here to talk about today, the most underutilized, I think, resource that any business owner in our industry has, and that's the power of the BDM, because BDMs are not normal sales reps these days, right? So it's completely
Mm.
different. But before we start, please introduce yourselves, Julie and Denise, and let us all know about your history and how you came to be in the beauty and aesthetic industry. Denise, did you want to go first?
Sure. Gosh, I have been in the industry since I've been 18. I'm in my 40s now. And what drove me through it was, I suppose, I was obsessed originally as a young girl with makeup. It was that simple. I idolized both my aunts, and I would just watch them do their makeup in the mirror, and I thought I'm going to be a makeup artist. And then I always had issues with my own skin. It's kind of like the one reason we're drawn to it is I think therapists at heart, we're nurturers, and we care about really making people feel good in their skin, whether that's through the beauty, whether it's through the skin, whether it's through massage. I trained in Ireland, and I did beauty therapy. I did makeup artistry as well. And then a few minutes into that, I went, nope, I want to focus on skin. And I became just so passionate about skin. I did aromatherapy, I did remedial. I kind of done it all, right? I truly have done elements of it all. And I think when I came to Australia, I became really fortunate. I kind of started business developing here. I've been in business development now for about 15 years, would you
Wow.
believe? Close to about 13 or 14. Yeah. But I started it off just like all of us do, I suppose, with our own skin concerns and conscious in our own skin and wanting to make a change. And now I think my passion is always and will always be with skin. But I get so excited about talking to business owners about just building and helping build their own brands, like really seeing there's nothing as exciting as meeting a therapist and seeing how passionate they are about helping people feel confident in their own skin. And I think our mission at PBS, and I think it speaks true to who we are, is it's all about enriching lives through the power of skin health. And we do it through business as well. So I get so excited about our business development meetings with our partners.
Love it.
It's what I get up in the morning for, truly. It
Yeah.
really is. Yeah.
I can hear your passion. I think everybody watching this is going to sort of magnetize that as well, because we've got such an incredible session today. Julie, tell us a little bit about yourself and also how you came to be in PBS. What do you guys actually do within PBS?
Oh, that's a big question. I guess my history is pretty similar to Denise's. Mine started in the hair industry. So I got a hairdressing apprenticeship at the age of 16. I'll admit that wasn't my passion, but my mum told me I was not allowed to leave school unless I had an apprenticeship or a proper job. So that was my mission, was to do that. But when I got into the hair industry, I realized how passionate I was about making people feel good about themselves. Like I grew up in, you know what it's like going through school. It's terrifying. Kids can be so cruel. And I was like, I have the power in what I do with hair and beauty and skin to really transform lives. And that's, I guess, where I got into it. So I quit hairdressing after qualifying. I didn't stay in there long. I think it was 6 months, and was like, no, beauty and skin is my passion. So I went and studied beauty therapy, worked in 5-star day spas right up until I moved out here to Australia, and then really focused on the skin side of things when I got here. And I think it was about 11 years ago, I decided I had enough kind of being in the treatment room and the businesses, and saw what I could do on a larger scale. And that's when I became a business development manager. And I was drawn to PBS, I guess. It wasn't my first role as a BDM. I had a really great first role in the industry as a business development manager, but PBS's passion of being that real partner to their salons, spas, and clinics was what I was drawn to. I was a customer of theirs just for Sunscape Tan, and the help I got just by buying tan, I was like, this is incredible. I have to be a part of this. How do I get in? And the day I decided when I came back from mat leave that I wanted something more was the day Matt and Lisa advertised for a Queensland Business Development Manager, and it felt like it was truly meant to be, and I've been here ever since.
Serendipity, I love it. And you know, I feel like a lot of our stories are the same. You know, lots
Yeah.
of, you know, passionate, emotional drawing, you know, us to our calling. And I think we all have this calling. But what stumbles us as business owners is that we love and we're passionate about what we do. We love and we're passionate about skin, but a lot of the times we're not focusing on our business. We're focusing in our business. We're doing the thing that we do best. And as a business owner, so many challenges. Let's explore some now. What are the biggest challenges right now that we're facing with running a clinic, salon, or spa in our industry?
Yeah, wow. I think what you just hit the nail on the head. I think our industry is unique in some of them challenges. I must be honest. I think as well, and I got to give a shout out. In how many industries do you have the majority is predominantly women? You know, they're
99
wives.
or 98%. I think
I know,
it's
right? They're
99.
wives. So
Medical
guys,
aesthetic is
shout out,
98 or
yeah.
something. Yeah, it's
Just
crazy.
shout out to them challenges alone because their wives, their mothers, most of our business partners are running a group of small children. They're running a team. They're running a business, and they are wearing many, many hats. And I think that is a challenge that is crazy. You know, they're running a small business and they've got a whole family at home that they're taking care of. And I admire them so much for what they do. The amount of heart that I see in our industry is what makes me so passionate about it. But I think true to that nature that we were just talking about, we are nurturers at heart. And often I think they strive so much with that connection, and they care about that transformation and the service to their clients, and often their focus is not on profits, right? So I think that, like you said, it becomes challenging. It's alien for them, and they think it's a dirty word, monies. It's like we need to know our numbers. So for me right now, like every business goes through the same kind of challenges, but in our industry right now, I'm seeing so much pressure and challenges on them to drop their pricing because of them Trump tariffs. I'm telling you, he's got a lot to answer for, Trump has. But I think I think me and Julie, if we're being real, each state sometimes poses different challenges.
Mm.
I've come out of being New South Wales North, when some of my wonderful salon partners have been affected by their floods this year. And I think in our industry, Australia has different challenges than they have globally in this industry. And it's the regionals, it's how spread out everything is, it's the weather changes. So they're kind of some of the obvious ones. But the things that I spend most of my time kind of dealing with right now is convincing them not to reduce their prices and discount. It's not to, and it's also another challenge is the finding the time to work on the business rather than in it. That's one thing I think we were talking about every day. And I have to talk about the last one, which I don't think is going away anytime quick, Jules, but it's that lack of skilled therapists really is the big killer as well. So they're probably the three for me.
The three for you. You know,
Mm.
I hear the lack of skilled therapists. We just don't have access to really great talent, but we're also not retaining talent. We've got some statistics just came out showing that staff retention rates have dropped a good 30 to 40%. For some reason, people not staying with their employer beyond a year and a half, sometimes on the 2-year mark they're off.
Yeah.
So we have this problem with loyalty, and I think the same with clients as well. They are jumping from place to place, as you said, with regards to prices. Jules, what do you think? There are so many more, aren't there?
Well, there's definitely so much more. That pressure to discount is high, but I'd love to put a little bit of a positive spin on it. And the fact that if you provide not only your team with so much value, but your clients with so much value, not just in discount, but how are they welcomed? How is everything done? And I know we're going to get into this a little bit later in our chat today, but I really think that yes, there is a pressure there to do that, but there is a pressure to keep your why in mind and to keep shining so brightly that your team and your clients stay with you. So yes, it's definitely hard, but if we can find the right people, if we are attracting the right avatar of team and the right avatar of client, we can really turn that around for our business this year. And I truly believe that by looking at all the things that we're going to talk about together today. And I guess to what Denise said, burnout as well, like I'm juggling mum life and a full-time job as well. I know what it's like to get bogged down and get really overwhelmed. And I guess that's probably one of the biggest things that we're facing with our business owners as well. Not just the ones that have got team, but probably our owner operators as well are really feeling that kind of burnout too. They've been keeping going for so long now. It's just like, oh, what next? So it's our job to really pick them up and show them the
Yeah.
light and keep them on the track of what they want to be.
Absolutely. And you're not alone out there. You guys that are
Mm-mm.
listening, every business goes through these things. And I suppose our role, I think we are so strong in our role of creating that safe space for our clinic partners where there is no judgment, right? And
Yeah.
it's that space that we want to create for them to feel understood and empowered to, yeah, it's all
Yeah.
about, I suppose what we do is giving you the strategy and letting
Yeah.
you identify your strengths, focusing on them. And our thing is just once we put in that strategy, it just kind of snowballs then, right?
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you were just talking about burnout. That's something we've been dealing with a lot through ABIC. So we obviously pick up calls. We take calls from lots of salon, spa, clinic owners like yourself. We deal with a lot of different businesses, so we're able to see kind of from like a bird's eye view of what's actually happening and the common trends and themes that are happening in each business. And burnout is a really common one. Or even if you're not burnt out, overwhelmed to the point where you are just focusing on the now and focusing on what do I have to do to get this done today. And actually, when that happens, there's a part of your brain that moves into reactive survival mode.
Yeah.
And this is where you need an external party. And this is science shows us, this is Harvard Business School is actually talking here. But science shows us that you can't deal with that. It's very difficult to deal with that, to become unstuck on your own. You actually need a different perspective. You need to look from somebody else's eyes. And so Harvard Business School says the right strategic partnerships make your business grow your business 3 times faster than not having any strategic partnerships. And we're talking about partnerships with aligned businesses, right? Such as your stockist, your skincare brand, your whether it be your device company. Those types of partnership that also have access to other people and other insights can help you get unstuck And they're not just there to help you, you know, sell a product or two. They're there to actually help you to realize what your business is capable of. And that, I do believe that's what business development managers do these days, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We want to help people when they're in overwhelm. It is a sign, as you say, Steph, they've got to zoom out on their business. They can't stay in that overwhelm because they won't see the things that are right in front of them. So it's our job to help them pause, to really come out and zoom out with them and really look at what those small actions they can do every day that will move the needle in the business. Because when they're in overwhelm, sometimes they get just stuck in the day-to-day that isn't changing anything in the business. It isn't achieving everything that we set and goal-wise at the start of every single year. We zoom them out and go, let's start with these 3 small actions. We don't want to give somebody an 8-week plan that's got 20 steps because you'll be like, whoa, that's too much. I'm not doing that. So I guess that's what we really do at PBS is we take that zoom out, we take data from yourself, we take data from what you do at PBS, and we really zoom in and right, what are these small steps that we can make today and for the next 8 weeks that are truly going to move the needle in your business and bring you out of that overwhelm?
And so what if somebody doesn't know they're stuck? I was listening to a Diary of a podcast or a Diary of a CEO podcast the other day, and it was one of the guests was a marketing psychologist, and he said, sometimes you're stuck and you don't know you're stuck. And there is a way to unstick yourself from the status quo, because obviously doing the same things over and over is going to get you the same results. So if you want to grow your business, anybody who's listening now who wants to grow their business and go, okay, I've reached a certain point, I kind of know what my figures are every month, I know what to expect in this quarter, but I want to break through that barrier. I actually want to increase my profit, not just increase my revenue. What are some of the things when you're overwhelmed that confuse you and stop you from doing that? And how can you unstick yourself? Like, give us some steps of the process.
Sure, do you want me to take this, Denise? Do you want to go?
Yeah, go for it, Jules.
I think talking to your business development manager on a regular basis is absolute key. We actually, me and Denise work really hard, and so do all of our business development managers, of pre-booking your meetings with us 12 months in advance. So
Wow.
we're probably really annoying in
We're
November
really
because you're
annoying.
busy,
I
but we want to plan that out. And I think when we have our conversations, I recognize it in my clients with the language that they're using, the body language, the vibe they're giving off, that they are stuck in that. So I kind of pull that out on them a little bit and ask them, like just if we were to change one thing in your business, what would you want to grow in the next 8 weeks? And sometimes that's just enough to bring clarity. So I will ask my clients to pull me their data. I will pull their data as well. And I will sometimes show them, even just in missing retail growth, your team are really great at prescribing your core 4, but we're missing out on our mass, we're missing out on our add-ons, we're missing out on this and that because I've zoomed out and looked in for you. And sometimes they're like, I didn't even realize that. I'm looking at my overall numbers, but they're not zooming in close enough to see the missing gaps in their business that I can see looking out for them. So I guess it's me picking up on what the clients give me because we know them so well now and really help them on the way. And let's look at this a little bit closer together. How can we really help you in the way of education and tools so that we're really striving together?
And
You know,
just
one thing that I love about Matt, Matt's also my business partner in ABIC, right? So we're directors. So we have a lot of directors meetings, and he's extremely profit focused, trying to, you know, obviously we're a not-for-profit, so at the end of the year we try to do a break even and put it back into the projects, which is a very different setup than a business. You're not wanting to do that at the end of a business, right? At the end of a business cycle, but in actual fact, he's very much an advocate at looking at your figures and working out your break even. And I think out of what I've seen of PBS, you're one of the only businesses out there that sit down and actually go through the numbers and teach you how to work out that sweet spot of break even when you're introducing a new product line or a new device. You will plan it to the nth degree with that clinic and salon and spa to make sure it's profitable, right?
Absolutely. That's the stuff that I get so excited about.
Yeah, no one does that.
I think for me, you have to. Matt's favorite thing is you got to know your numbers to grow your numbers. And what we mean by numbers is sometimes it's not the dollar amount, right? It's the daily numbers and processes as well that need to be tracked. And I want to come back to Julie's point earlier as well. But yeah, I know that we always look at profit per minute and break even. And I find that, and I'm going to harp on about this one because this is one of the biggest mistakes I see businesses making, Stephanie. And it kills me every day, but I'm going to mention it for all of you ladies listening that are running a business that have really lucrative sale incentive programs. I feel like in the industry, you know, our salon owners, the biggest thing that they do is they'll put in a big staff incentive to try and encourage team growth and retail sales. And they haven't even a clue if they're breaking even, if they're making a profit, and they're giving away their profits to their team. So I think one of the biggest things that we do, me and Julie, is pulling out that data. And we look at lots of things, but you know, it's understanding what is the sales versus retail, what is the rebooking, what is the frequency of visit, what are the top services, you know, what is the client retention, what is the utilization rate. We are looking at all of these numbers, and often, like, I think when you have a really close relationship with the clients that we have, they will say, Denise, I want to implement this device. And I'm like, well, let's just see if the numbers make sense first. And I think that's one thing that we're really passionate about. But I want to come back to the goals, Julie said, like you were talking about the business, you know, what should salon owners do? And I think even when they're doing well, they stop working on their business. When they're in criteria mode, they stop working on their business. And I think they're like, I know what my 12-month goal is, but I think what a BDM can do really well is help you focus on, I'm a stickler for the daily systems. Like, what are the small daily things and processes that we do every day to move the big needle? Because it's the small implementations that we have in the business every day that have the biggest impact on the business. And I think that's one thing that me and Julie look at, is we're always looking at the key processes that drive them results and holding them accountable to them key processes. It's, you know, the morning routines, it's the pre-planning, which Julie is so good. I love her pre-planning speech that she does. It's great. But it's all of that, you know, reviewing sales and performance and targets and knowing then numbers. It's not just about the profit, it's the daily numbers that really drive the needle in a business.
Yeah, you're talking about business elegance. Like, you know, basically, what are your systems and processes, and how do they support maximum profit?
Yes.
If you're looking at an overview of your business, if you were, let's just say you're watching now, and you're thinking, okay, what's the first step? You're saying step back for a second and look at your business through the eyes of, if this wasn't my business and I was just buying it today, what are the systems and processes that make this business run every day? How do I relearn them and think, are they the most elegant, most efficient? Because once they're the most elegant, once they're the most efficient, you can maximize that profitability at every point, at every single strategic point. And that comes down to those minute processes that I see some clinics and salons and spas do so well. Their figures are astronomical. Like, I wonder, how do they grow like that? But they automate so much as well.
They do. And I think we are really good at making our clients step back at the start of every year. We actually do a business health check with all of our accounts at the start of the year, where we bring them back to their why. Because sometimes after Christmas, after they've been run off their feet, it's the busiest time of year, we need them to take that step back. And that's when we do reevaluate everything, at least at the start of the year, so that we can set them up, yes, on those small incremental kind of goals, but really give them that 12-month plan of what we're going to do too. So every year, at least, you should be doing it every quarter, but we actually sit you down and make you do this together. So we do that health check, we ask those numbers, we relate back to your why, we celebrate the wins from the year before, so that we can keep you on track from making sure you can smash through your next goals. We don't want any glass ceilings over here, we want to smash right through them.
And you know, there's actually science behind that as well. As I'm a big science nerd, everybody knows. Oh, well, they should by now anyway. But there's a part of your brain that actually gets bogged down with when you're making decisions. There's a threshold, there's a decision fatigue. You get to a certain point, you can't actually make another decision or another good decision. This is why Steve Jobs wore the same type of outfits every day, right? Because he thought, that's another decision I don't need to make. So I can focus on the actual big decisions, because even if you're making a small decision or a big decision, your brain doesn't really know the difference, and it gets capped when it gets capped. So to avoid decision fatigue, you must implement those systems and you must do the business health check, because Once you get all of that mess, the noise out of the way, and then you systemize everything from the morning routine, as you said, from the way that, you know, your staff walk in and check in with each other in the morning, to the, you know, what happens around lunchtime, what are the processes there, checking in and checking out every client, but then following up every client. Once all of that is gone, you don't have to think about that anymore to the nth detail. You can start to finally go, I've actually got space to breathe and think about how do I improve and grow my business. At that point, that's where you need those business health checks. Do you actually sit down and go through some of the processes that clinics have? And I mean, you would know, you'd see so many other clinics, salons, and spas doing it. You'd know what works and what doesn't now, right?
Yeah, I think, Jules, I was trying to do some math this morning just for the purpose of this, trying to see how many businesses we actually see within a year. But I know that we've got around 2,000 businesses at PBS, and we're seeing so many types of businesses, so many great successful ones. And I think we're always analyzing what can we do better. I think we always have that growth mindset. It's always like, how can we improve our processes? So
Yeah.
I think over the years we've kind of nailed our own systems, haven't we, Jules? We're constantly like, we'll sit down at the end of every year, Stephanie, as BDMs and as a team, and we then rewrite the book. So we look back at our health check questionnaires, and we're always breaking it into categories. We were kind of breaking down the team culture and team education. What can we do to improve that within a business? And obviously the systems and processes are key, KPIs. I think our role biggest is implementing accountability and following and tracking them implementations. And we provide all of our business partners with these KPI sheets, data sheets,
wow.
spreadsheets.
Yes.
I mean, I know therapists hate Excel spreadsheets, so thank God that we're good at it here at PBS. But I think people don't realize, I think, how much tools me and Julie and PBS have put together over the years to help them. And like Julie says, it starts off with the willingness and the
Yeah.
openness at mind to just ask the question for a business development meeting with your BDM manager. And we normally start with a health check questionnaire. And I guess sometimes Jill's right, coming back to it, it's like some people are so scared and terrified, Stephanie, to
Yep.
look at their numbers. And so sometimes the first meeting is just about building that space where they feel so safe. Sometimes they don't share numbers until the third meeting in, and that's okay too. There's lots of other things that we can work on as well. But yeah, Jules, what would you say on that?
I just think, no, that your business development managers aren't here to judge you whatsoever.
No.
Like the reason that we are so passionate in our role, and not only do we catch up on that yearly basis, but weekly we catch up as a team. I think when we added it up, we've got 130 years of experience or something between all of the BDMs at PBS.
Yeah.
And me and Denise don't know everything. We'll take other things to the team. So we're consistently sharing every single week what we've seen in the industry that's truly working, the things that aren't maybe working anymore. So it's not just the people that we're individually working with, but collectively at PBS, we're working together as a team every single week. So we know that we are bringing you the most up-to-date advice
Yeah.
and the most up-to-date things that we're seeing happening in the industry. So I think, know that we're working really hard behind the scenes, that we don't always think we've got it right. We do think we've got amazing systems, but if we find something new that's working better and we want to share that with you, we're not going to hold back. We're going to bring that to you ASAP. So that's the reason for our catch-ups weekly and also yearly.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is you have the secrets.
We do.
You've got all the secrets to success. You've cherry picked them all from all your experience, and then you're willing to share them with your
Yep.
partners. And I want to hear personally the nitty-gritty now. I want to hear an actual story. One of the most powerful business shifts that you have either seen or created. What happened? How did you turn the business around? Give us a couple of examples.
Do you want me to go first, Jules, or you want to
Yeah,
dive
sure.
in?
No, you go.
I think I'm going to be honest with you, we have some of the best clinic partners in the industry. I truly believe that. There's two favorite ones that I kind of love changing. I think I'm going to start with like a really simple one without mentioning any names here. But I think I love a good customer experience KPI, and I think by really just analyzing them numbers, I think that's one of the biggest ones that you can have a huge impact on the needle in the business. So I had a clinic that we worked on their customer experience KPIs. So we created a tracking sheet basically. Just by implementing that, we I have to be careful now that I don't give away too much, but just with having a retention rate and a rebooking system put in place, within the first quarter, we were able to increase their return of customers by 30% within the
Yeah,
first.
that's huge.
And that is all about just tracking. And I think it's making it simple. It's not rocket science. This is just a numbers game, really. And I think there's no emotion in that. I think often we get so emotional about why our customers not rebooking, what are we doing wrong? And it's like, no, there's just not attention to one detail. It's like, what is the rebooking, system that we have in place? And it was just implementing that. One of my favorite, because I'm in sales, of course I am, and I love a good retail sales story. But I had a business, a skin business, but predominantly a beauty business that were really passionate about makeup back in the day, right? We'll say pre-COVID time. And I think COVID kind of killed our makeup sales in professionally in the salon, and we saw the influence of Mecca and Sephora really taking that away from a lot of our professional salons. And I think so we started focusing on skin. And I think the story was, let's just put in a simple KPI of tracking. So it was about just changing the customer experience, educating a client on the benefit of mineral makeup and finishing every brow service off with a mineral brow pencil, right? These are so simple, and a dusting of a mineral foundation. And we tracked and I tracked and I tracked, and I held every single team member accountable for that. Within the first quarter, the quarter that we had tracked where the sales were down, we'd done about $3,000 in makeup sales. Now that was without performing any makeup services, just FYI. And just from tracking it and implementing that finishing touch to the service and implementing a brow pencil into the brow services, we went from doing 3,000 on the first quarter to 12,500 on the second quarter, with a growth of about 416%. And that was with no extra labor cost and no extra time for the salon. And that was just money that was left sitting on the floor every time a client walked out. And I think that can be totally life-changing for a business. That's the difference in breaking even and now making a profit. And I think my goal is, I have so many partners that I see that are barely pulling a wage out for themselves because everything is going back into the business, or they're paying their staff and the staff are getting great staff incentives. And I think from being able to do that, it's completely life-changing for some business owners. And there was no extra cost to the business by doing that, So yeah, that's one of my biggest ones I think that I see. What about you, Jules? What have you got?
Well, I guess the most rewarding shift I see is watching the owners go from completely exhausted to really empowered and in control of their business. So there's definitely been a few that I've worked with where they've been very beauty focused, and that is a hard slog. The lashes, the brows, the waxing, all of that, and it really doesn't bring in the same revenue. So I've definitely really enjoyed over my 8 years at PBS taking a number of different clinics from that beauty focus through to skin focus, and not only seeing what that does to the business itself, but what it does for that partner, what it's changed in their family life, what they've been able to achieve, what's their bigger why outside of business and why they open the doors every day. To me, that's what I absolutely love watching. But one that you can start really implementing straight away, as Denise said earlier, pre-planning your day. I came from working for a chain of salons, and the one thing that was consistent across every single business was that pre-planning of the day, having your team coming in, high vibe music, getting them to look at their clients from 9 a.m. all the way through, because we all know when we hit that 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we don't have the same energy. We don't have the same ideas we would have had fresh in the morning. And when I've done that, even with a business that was year-on-year growth with us, still managed to increase their retail by 30% just by pre-planning their day. There was no other change, no other shift, just noting down when was the last time the client was in, what was the things they last bought, how are we going to increase their experience today based on the concerns they've got? What are the missing pieces? Looking at all of that and preparing before your client's coming through your door, biggest shift you can make in your business.
You know, I'm listening to you both talk, and the message that we want to put out there is your business can be more profitable. It can, you know, yield more revenue, but it can definitely grow in profits. And if you can't see where the opportunities are, that's when you need to go and ask somebody with their
Yeah.
fresh eyes to look over. And sometimes, you know, people think there's a whole big movement about coaching. I need to get a coach. I need to get this. I hear it. Some people are in the space where they can afford a coach, but coaches are very expensive. Another thing about coaches is, yes, they are great. They've got strategy, but they usually come from where you come from, the business development side of our industry. You have your coaches. If you get good partners, you can leverage the skills from your business development managers, from your various partners, to act as a form of coach. And I know this because when I had the clinics, when I partnered with this one particular brand, it grew our medical aesthetic space. I'm talking 80%, some insane numbers, and to the point where they would come in and I would be super excited to show them my figures because look what I've done. And they were so proud, and there was so much kind of encouragement because, you know, we set the KPIs together, we monitored the KPIs, they encouraged me. If I'm stuck, they sort of pivoted, you know, us and our team, and we were able to achieve those KPIs together. And that, if that's not coaching, I don't know what you guys do.
Yeah.
It's exactly right. And I think that's the thing, you have to pivot, right? Because you've got to analyze what's working and what's not working consistently. And that's why we are so consistent with those eight weekly meetings with our partners. We want to know what's happening in your business. We want to recognize a problem before it gets so big that it's too hard to handle. We want to preempt that. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I love it too. And if you do speak to coaches, they will tell you it's who you partner with that makes the difference. So it's a combination approach. You know, another thing that I always ask is, I see so many, we're all in the same field, we're all in the same country, or let's just say we're all in the same state with other people that are also business owners in our state. And there are some businesses that are booming and their profit is insane. And when I talk to them, I'm like, how do you do this? Like, how did you achieve that? And then there are some businesses that are really struggling, and it's not a fault of our own personal fault. It's not something that, you know, inherently we're better people, so we make more profit or less profit. It's not about that. It really is, there are traits and systems, right? Give us some of the traits of successful business owners or successful businesses or systems, because sometimes they're not even personality traits. They could be personality traits, but there could be systems as well.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. Three of the biggest, I think sometimes I see people get so bogged down and it has to be perfect that they prioritize perfection over just progress. I'm like, and just focus on progress, small little implementations every day to make progress. I think the second biggest thing is they know their numbers. Like they know their top service on their menu. They know who their VIP clients are. They know their numbers, and they surround themselves with, like you said, the right support, the right partners. I think for me, they're probably the three biggest things that I see. And I have to talk about education. I think I understand the pain point on education in our industry. And I think I've seen this year in particular where some businesses now they're struggling, Stephanie. And it's like, okay, I see that as an opportunity. Okay, if you're quiet, that is the major opportunity to now let's refocus on re-educating the team. Where are their biggest weaknesses? And we see, I think my top partners that we're with, top clinic partners, their education plan for the year is impeccable. The amount of work and culture and education they put into their team. And I think in our industry in particular, if you're not re-educating your team constantly, you fall behind in a blink of an eye. Unfortunately, that's how fast our industry moves. So for me, I think education is vital, along with all them growth mindsets too.
I have to agree. What about you, Jules?
Yeah, look, I'll probably piggyback on that with not only training, but I guess what I see trait-wise in our top partners, and this isn't just in Queensland, this is across Australia. Very lucky I get to work with a couple sometimes outside of Queensland as well, but it's the strong team culture that they set, whether
Yeah.
it's your owner operator where you've got that strong accountability culture for yourself, but that team culture, those team days, those coming back to the why of not only the business, but the owners recognizing that each team member has their own why as well.
Yeah.
So I think that for me is huge. And then the other thing that I see business owners do that are so successful in the traits that they have is everything is intentional. Their branding, their client journey, their menu, how everything is done and planned out. It is so intentional to their why and their brand and their purpose, and they show up and they sing that every single day. And I think if you're to, yeah, all those things you need,
Yeah.
but everything needs to be intentional. I'm a big fan of morning routines. Are you having a morning routine before you walk into your business? Are you setting yourself up where you're lifting yourself up and filling your cup up first before you even walk through the doors of your business to support your team? That makes a huge difference. So all of those things come into play. But yeah, mindset, team culture, and everything being intentional is definitely my three.
I love that. So for business owners, before we wrap up, out there who are wanting help, they're wanting to reach out, where do they start? What's the best way to leverage support for them? Because sometimes you can hesitate.
Call me. I'm kidding.
But even if you're not partnering with PBS, let's just say altruistically now, I mean, PBS, yes, partner with PBS, but if you're not and you've got your partners anyway, what would you
Yeah.
say? Like, give them a way to kind of reach out.
Yeah, I think for me, it's kind of like fast is slow and slow is fast. I think, and what I mean by that is it's like sometimes you just have to slow down to be able to speed up first.
Right.
And sometimes the fastest way to move forward is to stop reacting and start with intention leading. And asking for help is what leaders do. That's the first thing I want to say.
I can
That's
attest
the
to that.
leadership role, and it's not weakness. And I think sometimes a lot of these wonderful business owners and therapists and mothers all think they have to do it by themselves, and you don't. So for me, it's like, don't wait for it to be broken either to try and fix it, because yeah. So that's my thing, is like, just stop running, take a deep breath, focus on one thing, take a pause. And it's that shift in mindset from, kind of what should I do next, and really sitting and contemplating what is the best thing for you and your brand and your business.
I love that. And I love slow is fast, fast is no.
Yeah.
Fast, say it again.
It's confusing, isn't it?
Slow is fast. No. What is it? Tell me.
Fast is slow and slow is fast. It's all
Slow
about
is fast. I should know it because my partner says it to me all the time, and it's a military
It's
saying.
a real boxing thing. It's a, I should,
Boxing, it's a military thing because he's
there you go. So
military, yeah.
it's
And I'm like,
real sports mindset too.
stop going fast. It's slow, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. But you're right. Take a second to.
The fastest way to move forward is to just stop reacting and slow down, really.
I love
And when you're asking for help, really be open to being prepared to, you don't have to share numbers with us, but I think share openly of where you're at. Please don't be embarrassed with where you're at in your business in comparison to where you want to be, and stay receptive to receiving those ideas from your business development managers as well, because they are working with so many types of businesses. We do see it all, and you won't be the first person we've come across with whatever problem that you come to your business development manager with. So please be really open, and please be prepared to put in the work you're in to give us data that we can help you with, because your business development manager will only be able to see what they can see on our end. We need a lot of that data for you to be able to analyze and really strategize what's going to work. So yeah, biggest tip is be super open.
Thank you so much, ladies, for sharing your wisdom and your secrets with us. And of course, if anybody out there wants to reach out to Julie or Denise or PBS, please, you actually can go on our website, the ABIC website. They're in our supplier endorsed directory, of course, because they are foundation members of ABIC and wonderful, generous supporters of the industry, always giving back. And today, thank you so much for giving back, ladies.
Thank you,
Thanks
Steph.
for having us.
Pleasure.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.